Hey, how
Hello.
are you?
I am good, my love. How are you?
I'm really good. In sunny Ibiza today.
Yes, if we start doing this, then that's fine.
So, Leah, my good friend,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, but that's a very open-ended question.
It is.
I think what we're going to discuss mostly today is pineapple support. So I am CEO and founder of a non-profit organisation that provides mental health care and emotional support to people working in the online adult industry.
Amazing. And how did you get there?
So I've been in the adult space for a long time. I mean, I'm also a dog mum. I've been in the adult space for a long time. When I was in my mid-teens, which I know seems really young looking back, someone popped a little flyer in my hand for a BDSM event. And as a child who was always just really intrigued by sex, I had to go and see what it was all about. And yes, and I told my mum, and she bought me my PVC outfit, my little whip. I went along and met this amazing group of people that were just, I was at school, I never really fit in. I was always a little bit of an oddbod, came out saying weird stuff, which all becomes apparent at the grand old age of 41 when I've just been diagnosed with ADHD and on top of this is wonderful, my therapist thinks I am on the autism spectrum, which explains it so much. So I went along to that and just met this group of people that for the first time in my life made me feel welcome, included, like I wasn't an outcast. And they realized very, very quickly how young I was and kept me from everything. I didn't actually see any of the kind of sexy stuff that was going on. As far as I was aware, it was a room full of people wearing fun clothing that were really lovely. And it wasn't until I was 18 that they actually showed me the other rooms and other things. So they really, really did look after me. And then at 18, I started stripping, lap dancing. Then worked in fashion, because that's what I studied, and kind of left the kind of sex industry for a while until I had a divorce, because, you know, I was married very young. Very young. If that had lasted, then it would have been one of those little fairy tale stories. But yes, and I was working in fashion, running operations for retail stores in the Northeast, and the recession hit. And I could see everything was just, it was ready, that domino effect was just happening, and I could see it coming. And thought, well, I hate to be the one to jump ship, but at the end of the day, you have to look after yourself first. So I decided to start my own online retail store selling very hardcore BDSM equipment. And then that kind of led me into modeling and creating content, doing fetish modeling, pro dominatrix work. It was all this, the crowds that I was moving in, and it all happened really organically. It was, you know, nothing ever felt pushed, nothing ever felt like, you know, it came out of nowhere. It just all happened really, really organically, really beautifully. And everyone that I came along across the way was, again, this welcoming, kind, accepting group of people, a proper crazy family. And in 2018 was my first time going to the big award shows, like the Oscars in LA. LA in Vegas, XBiz in LA, and then AVN in Vegas. And I remember people were handing out suicide awareness bracelets and little ribbons, and I was thinking, me, with my evening dress on, bottle of champagne in hand, being an absolute liability, enjoying myself, kind of, who's this Debbie Downer? And then going into the award show, sitting down, and what I've learnt now is at the beginning of every award show, they have a little memorial for all the people in the industry that have passed that year. But this particular year, 5 women under the age of 35 had taken their lives within the previous 8 weeks.
Wow.
And all the rest of the people on the memorial as well, they were all very young. There was very few people that kind of died at an old age. It was all really shocking and hugely impactful and hugely emotional. I remember going from being so happy and bouncy with my champagne and silliness and to crying at the table there, and just not understanding why a community that had been so giving and supportive to me wasn't being offered any support back. And over the, I think it was 2 or 3 week trip that I was away for, obviously couldn't get out of my mind. And on the flight home, I kind of thought, do you know what? Sod this. I have to do something about it. No one else is doing anything about it. And this is not a new problem. And on doing research, it was not just 5 women that had taken their lives. That was 5 women that were well known, that the media were interested in. But, suicide is contagious. When people see their peer or someone they look up to take their lives and they're going through a hard time themselves, it seems like the easy thing to do. And there were hundreds. There were hundreds of creators and adult industry professionals who had taken their own lives within a similar space of time, and it was heartbreaking. It was absolutely heartbreaking. So that was in the January. By mid-February, I'd come up with a plan, and we launched in the April.
Wow. So suicide and the porn industry. I was doing a little bit of research, and don't quote me on where this came from, but it seems that the statistics of people that commit suicide in the porn industry are much higher than the average person. And Pineapple Support, are you part of the process of supporting people with their mental health? Like at what point do people kind of come to you? And have you seen that statistic to be true? I mean, I know you probably haven't got a comparison of the wider world in mental health, but what would you say some of the challenges are of people who come to you?
So we did a mental health survey at the beginning of this year. Mm-hmm. And one of the questions on there was, have you ever considered taking your life by suicide? Mm. And 60% said they had considered taking their lives by suicide. Now that is astonishingly high. These are people that didn't feel like there was any other option. They thought the world would be better off without them. They thought that ending their lives was the only way to get out of the feelings that they were trying so hard to combat. And I don't know what the national average is, but I'm sure it's not anywhere near that. We try to help people. The services that we offer are before crisis. So if you're having suicidal ideations, then yes, come to us. If you're actively thinking about taking your own life, then you need to call a crisis intervention hotline or service, or call an ambulance, call the police. Check yourself in somewhere because you need a higher level of care than what we offer. I think working in the adult industry is a very isolating place for most people. There's so much stigma surrounding the work that creators do, particularly, but that does spread throughout the whole industry. The stigma spreads to people that are working the corporate side, people that are working on marketing, on finance. It spreads, but with a focus on the creators. you look at society stigmatizes people who work in the porn industry. Society makes judgments. Most of they're forced into it. They're lacking education. They're probably on drugs. They're probably experiencing sexual or have experienced sexual trauma, daddy issues, whatever else, broken doll. Society projects their shame. Most people watch porn. Most people enjoy porn. So why shame the actresses and actors that are creating this for you? And that shame with society that can give difficulty making friends. Imagine you've got kids, you're taking kids to school. That's where most people make friends. That kind of thing. You make friends with the other parents. What happens when the parents ask you what you do for a living? Why do they want to know? How she got a nice handbag or a nice car or whatever. And you have to lie. Well, no one wants to lie, so you just end up withdrawing. And that's the same with family. You see family at family gatherings, and they're asking, how was work? Oh, you said you're an accountant. What happened in the office? And this consistent having to cover up who you actually are. In the end, you just think, well, I'd rather not be there. I'd rather, be at home, be with the few people that know about what I do. And if you're in an area where there's a lot of creators, for example, like Los Angeles, then it is less isolating, but it's still there. If you're a cam model living in arse end of nowhere, then it's really, really difficult to find people that will actually understand what you're going through.
What do you think the stigmatization is, if you were to pinpoint it in society with porn stars?
Society is shameful of sex. So, because the church, look at almost every religion. Like, you losing your virginity is if you're giving something away. You're not giving something away. So no one's taking it from you. Everything's got this negative connotation. If you masturbate, you kill a kitten. Whatever. It's always had a negative connotation. It's always had shame surrounding it. And then, you look at actors and actresses, and people have difficulty separating them from the roles that they play. If you're watching, sorry, I'm sweating and getting a mustache.
I'm like that behind my ears.
If you're watching EastEnders or whatever, and there's a character on there, and you see that person in the street, your brain kind of easily connects the character to the person, rather than, particularly if it's not a celebrity that has a character. It's not in a lot of chat shows or whatever. So people see porn actors, think they're just this thing that has sex, that is, not a real person. If I'm really honest with you, because of the way that my brain works and the people that I hang around with, and because I've been part of this industry for so long, the honest answer is I don't know. I don't know why people logical, intelligent people would do this. I matched with someone on a dating app recently. We were chatting, having a lovely time, and they asked for my social media. And they went online, saw my social media, and just unmatched. Other members of the Pineapple support team have started dating people, and they've said, look, I can't carry on with this. I don't like the industry that you work in. I don't want to be surrounded by people that are like that. I don't know. And I think, we talk about all the kind of social media stuff that's coming out at the moment. We talk about high-value woman. What sort of high-value woman?
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
What does it mean to you?
That you know your value, you just respect yourself, and you set your own boundaries. If you're a high-value woman, you set boundaries, you stick to them, you know yourself, you do inner work, and you're comfortable in yourself. and hopefully you give back to the community or make the world a better place in some way, even if it's just making a single person smile every day. That's what gives someone value. A high-value woman must have slept with less than X amount of people. A high-value woman wouldn't have trauma in her history. Oh, goodness, it makes me so angry. I'm trying not to swear because maybe children watching. I hope there's not.
But isn't it fascinating? Because if you think about the high-value man, he's graded with this frame on what he makes, the money, maybe his impact on a social circle. But yet a woman becomes unhigh value based upon how she's behaved sexually.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yes, it is. And if you look at the way, I mean, there is still stigma around male porn performers as well, but nowhere near like a female. You meet a female content creator and it's like everything is about her and the sex, and you want to talk to them about sex and degrade them or whatever else. And then you meet one of the guys like, oh, go on, lad. Yeah, that. So.
Yeah. So talking about OnlyFans and social media and the way that pornography's evolved, what do you think of OnlyFans?
So I think the fan platforms in general, and OnlyFans is the one that everybody talks about. It's the one that has the most visitors, and therefore almost all content creators, if they have a fan platform, they will also be on there, if minimum. The fan platforms in general have given the power to the creators. Before the fan platforms, the creators were relying on agencies, production studios, which possibly cam work, but if we're talking about the actual porn performers rather than cam, they were absolutely at the mercy of these production studios and agents. And if they didn't, or at least having a lot of contacts if you went with an agency. Now, content creators make their money from the fan platforms. They don't need to make the movies. The movies are promotion for their fan platforms. The money that they're making from the production studios and from the agencies is minimal. There are people making $1 million a month on OnlyFans. That's a very, very small percentage, very small. But the majority of the top creators, or a lot of the top creators, are making, close to between, 100,000, 400,000. And good for them. It gives full control over your branding, control, how you present yourself. It gives you that opportunity to connect with your fans and make money from that. Before we all had the social media, and there are obviously ways to make money from social media, but not like there is on the fan sites. And it's understanding what your fans want as well, what they're going to pay for, because there's one thing listening to fans on social media saying, oh, you should be doing this, should be doing that. But on the fan platforms, they're actually paying for it. You're seeing really where that money's coming from, really what's working for you. And people are able to create a brand for themselves and manage that. So the fan platforms are a really positive thing. It's giving back control to the creators. It's changed the industry on its head. Now, what we did see, which was concerning, probably isn't the right word, but during COVID, a lot of people who had never ever considered working in the adult industry signed up to platforms like OnlyFans.
Because they were out of work?
Because they were out of work, and they thought that they could go online, create a platform, make money really easily, really quickly, and then when it was all over, delete their accounts, and it would never have to be seen again. There was something like, and I know the figure, but I hope this is right, roughly right, along the lines of 20,000 people signing up to OnlyFans every day during COVID. We saw a huge increase immediately we saw a huge increase in the need for therapy, but that was because of COVID. But as time went on a little more, what we did notice was a lot of people coming to us for support that hadn't been in the industry for very long. So there's clearly a lot of new content creators, which now we have that kind of statistic, and I think it's around the 20,000 mark. Now, these people that were joining then, they weren't educated on the effects of working in the adult space and what that actually means to your life moving forward. The adult industry's been an amazing place for me, and I love it, and I would never, ever work, or I couldn't ever see myself working in another industry. I love the people, I love the creativity, but it is not an industry that should be entered into without huge thought or consideration. You can't just delete every image off the internet. That's not how the internet works. There are people that will have saved that photograph, saved that video. Actually, when you sign up to a fan site and you just sign that contract or tick the box saying, I agree, that contract says that the fan platform that you're signing up to owns every piece of content that you upload. Of course, people don't look at it. I mean, when the new contract comes through from Apple on my iPhone every whatever, I don't read it. I scroll to the bottom and go, bosh. People that were just wanting to make money quickly, I'm sure most people didn't read those contracts. So a lot of people signing up that didn't understand what was going to happen with their content. You had a lot of people signing up that didn't realise that joining the adult industry would have a knock-on effect with every single job that they would attempt to gain in the future. It could affect their relationships. It could affect everything. They didn't think about their families finding out, and they always do. If they don't, then you're very, very well hidden, or done a very good job of protecting your privacy. And I would like to see a bit more education out there for people that were wanting to join the industry, or at least a little, Q&A before you're signing up. Is this your first account? Yes. Here's some information for you. Are you still sure you want to do this? And, that would ensure people knew what they were doing. It would probably provide creators that had more longevity in their career because they were people that really considered and wanted to do what they were doing. So it's incredible. The fan platforms are incredible for the people who are in the industry, who want to take control over their own careers and their brand. It has made it very, very easy for anyone to sign up quickly without thinking of the knock-on effects throughout their life.
And has that not actually, from an industry perspective, so I'm going to talk about the industry and then we'll go to the individual. From an industry perspective, has that not diluted the industry?
Yes. It has. Content creators that sign up without too much thought, let's say, their career span is usually 6 months to a year. So it's quite a fast turnover. It has been diluted. Again, your top 10, 20%, they're always going to be the top 10, 20%. It's a bit underneath. There are more and more fan sites. There are more and more cam sites. There are more and more ways to make money in the adult industry. It's a hugely innovative industry. And I think there's always going to be money out there to be made. There is more competition. Competition is good. So the answer is yes. There's still the same amount of money being spent, but at the lower end, then it's going to be harder and harder to actually make it.
And so for the individual, what are some of the experiences that you've seen, maybe some of the people that have come to Pineapple Support have with their relationships and with their job prospects?
I mean, not talking about people that come to Pineapple Support, because that would be a breach of client confidentiality.
Of course.
But in general, we talk about it a lot. We talk about relationships a lot. I mean, all of us do, but
yes. Topic of conversation in our friendship group.
But we've had events on our upcoming mental health summit, which is around the 17th of December. It's going on for 5 days, Monday to Friday. The topic this year is relationships, and we're going to focus on all different types of relationships with your family, friends, romantic, work, and yourself. That's the 5 days. Little plug there. Pineapplesummit.org.
Put it in the notes.
Put in the notes. Yeah, it's difficult. It's really difficult. You know, I see it over and over again. I used to see it when I was content creating. Let's talk about me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about me. No, but to give a personal perspective, I used to see it when people would go, "Oh my goodness, that's so sexy. That's so exotic. That's so wild. Oh my goodness, I want to date her. Yeah." And then they get feelings. And then they don't want you to do any of that anymore, and they want to completely change you, and they want to control you. And so you see a lot of this, and people come in and out the industry because of relationships, or sometimes you find the guys or girls that, or theys, that see the money and see the success, and come in, carrying their suitcases, taking the cash, enjoying the lifestyle. It's very, very hard to hold down a relationship. You know, just those examples before about being on dating apps and meeting people, and then even working as an exec, working as somebody that has a mental health charity. Oh, don't like that. Oh no. God, you help people. You help people that make sex videos. Gross. So yeah, it's very difficult. I mean, you know, it's they're all open relationships, all types of relationships, but that's not the majority. The majority of people want monogamy because that's the norm. And to go out, meet somebody who you adore, and then find out that they do want to sleep with other people, but it's their job, I can imagine that's hard. Of course it's hard. There's a lot of jealousy there. This is what we're wired to do. This is what we've been told is correct or incorrect. So it is very, very difficult. And yeah, it can have a huge effect on mental health as well. Because again, we all want to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
As humans, we want to be loved. We're pack animals. We want that companionship. And when it's increasingly difficult again and again and again to find that without changing who you are, it's that why can't you just accept someone for being who they are? You know, just accept me, love me for who I am, without wanting to change me. And that's not what's experienced a lot of the time.
And then for jobs?
Yeah, so you worked in the industry for a while. You decide you don't want to work in the industry anymore. Fine, great. You've got this gap on your CV where or you can fill in the gap, what you've been doing for the last 6 years, 5 years, whatever. And what do you put there? I mean, a lot of people put marketing and things like that, which is not a lie. They are marketing themselves. But when a company finds out that you have worked in the adult industry, there is quite a high possibility that they will not employ you for the job. A reason for this that is logical and kind of acceptable would be that it's a high risk for the employer.
So do you think with the wave that we've seen of young men and women in COVID coming into OnlyFans and other such platforms, there is enough education and thought going into these future life choices for people?
For a lot of people, absolutely not. As I said, I love the adult industry. I love everything about it. It's been amazing for me. It's been the right choice for me. I've had absolutely no regrets. But that's not going to be everybody, and it is a big decision. And I would say to anyone, if you're sure you want to do it, do it. It's amazing. You're going to really enjoy this life. It's, you know, it's such an incredible community. But just be sure you really want to do it.
What's the worst situation you've had in someone you've dated? In their reaction to what you've done, what you do. Come on, Sylvain.
I just quite like the kind of open. What's your worst situation in a relationship?
What's the worst situation?
Well, it's just been that controlling side, really. I've had a few, all bloody back to back when I was living in Portugal, and as the same thing happened again and again and again. Is that, you know, I don't want you making content. I don't want other people photographing you. Like, why? Not like I was doing anything with sexual. It was all kind of bondagey stuff and just kind of wearing latex and whatever else. It's not like anything was happening. And this is how my mind worked with it all. And yeah, just really, really possessive. And obviously, not obviously, if you know me, obviously, I did it anyway.
Yeah.
And they got very angry, very upset because I wasn't doing what they told me to do. And yeah. Or there was the time that I dated a guy when I was dancing, and I was like, oh, do you know what? It's not right for me to be dancing now that I'm dating this guy. I was 18 at the time, 19. I was like, I should stop dancing because I'm in a relationship. So I did that, and he dumped me because he liked the fact I was a stripper.
The opposite effect.
Yeah.
So how about on an honest level for you in being intimate with other men and then having a relationship? How was that for you?
But I wasn't intimate with other men.
Oh, you weren't?
No.
Okay, so it was pictures and dancing.
I mean, I used to do ball busting, if you call kicking a guy in the balls intimate.
For some, that's the best form of intimacy. There you go.
It's intimate for them. I mean, so no, I didn't. I've never done porn. I did bondage movies. So most of the movies I did, I was kind of with all my girlfriends, and we were tied up in bondage, rolling around the floor, going, "Help me!" And we'd do that for 10 minutes, and that was what we did.
Yeah.
Either naked or wearing lingerie, but you know, nothing crazy. Which is why, as I said, for me, at the time with these guys, it was so confusing. I'm like, surely this is really cool. I think it's really cool. So
it's cool until, like you said, there's feelings or stages of a relationship that people want to go through.
Yeah, unless they just accept you for who you are when they've met you.
Yeah.
Do you know what? This is why I'm attracted to this person.
So how have you seen that dynamic work well? Like, are there certain traits of people or ways that people see the world where actually you've got a woman who is a freaking phenomenal porn star and she's in a really intimate, loving, connected relationship? How do they do it?
Most of the time, I've seen this, and this is not every time. Like, I don't want to be trying to encompass everyone here because I don't.
Everything's contextual. Yeah.
But when I've seen the relationships working really well in the adult space, it's when both people work in the industry, and that doesn't mean they're both performing. One might work in marketing, or one might work in billing, or just whatever it is. They are in the industry, and therefore they understand the industry. And that's, I think it's an industry that unless you're actually in it, you can't understand it, or it's very difficult to. So having both partners actually in the industry in some way, shape, or form seems to be the best. Yeah. Best communication, best understanding, best types of relationships. And of course, people that are in the kind of swinging community as well, then it's that's it's not even.
It's relationship 101, isn't it? You're kind of picking people that have the same value system, the same worldview, the same outlook. So you know you've already got a common ground in that area. Yeah. I think about one of my good friends, her parents were porn stars, and that was exactly that. Their relationship lasted for years because they were both, and they had an open relationship where their agreement was no emotional connection or that kind of intimacy to go that far, but they both slept around and it worked for the whole of the marriage.
Communication and understanding.
Yeah.
I mean, as you said, same in
Any relationship.
Any relationship, communication and understanding. If you've got that, then, you know, God, is it difficult to find.
Yeah. Yeah. So with Pineapple Support, what are you working on and what have you been working on recently?
So we've really been working on our internal systems, to be honest. It was a really rough year last year for fundraising. Since COVID, people saw their profits going up and up and up, and last year was the first time it stopped going up.
Interesting.
It's kind of evened out, and so a lot of companies had to completely change the way that they were spending their money. Mm-hmm. And the first place you can budget cut on is giving to a charity. You know, there's very little ROI. So because of that drop in support and the consistent increase in need for therapy, we're seeing about a 10% increase year on year since the skyrocket after COVID, but now it's kind of evened out to about 10% each year. We've got an increase in need and a drop in resources. And for the first time since we started almost 7 years ago, we've got a waiting list. And that waiting list has over 200 people on it, and some have been waiting months now. It's pretty much a one in, one out situation at the moment until we can get a cash injection, which. So that's been a big challenge. So we've been changing a lot of our systems internally to try and cope with that, to try and process therapy requests and complete therapy connections quicker. It's given us a little bit of time to streamline our internal systems, so the administration parts and our communication with therapists, automated emails, it's a lot of work to save a lot of time in future. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? When we first started in 2018, all the systems we had set up and the speed at which the organization grew, we didn't have time to change the internal systems. We were working on systems that were great when we had 30 requests a month. Now it's 250. You know, using those same old systems was very, very time consuming, but taking out the block of time to change it all was just impossible. So today's been the last kind of 8 months to a year, we've been really, really working hard on that. And that started to take effect. That started to make a difference now. Obviously, a lot of teething pains, but teething issues, growing pains, whatever. But it's working now, and hopefully the onboarding is going to speed up because of this. But again, it all just takes time. So that's been a lot of what we're working on. We've been working more with our sponsors to provide consistent information on where we're spending our money, how they can additionally support us with social media, providing branding books, all these little internal things that help in the long run that we just didn't have time to do before. We've been really focusing on those over the last few months, and we'll continue to do that. what we're also doing, actually, this is really cool. Really happy with this. We've started it's not that little. I've started something called Spill the Tea. So when Pineapple first started, I thought that I could just roll out the same systems in every country. We'll start in this country, blah, 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 blah. But actually, every country has a different outlook on sex work and has a different outlook on mental health. So, providing support somewhere like Romania has been really hard, really hard. People don't get mental health support there, or very few do. It's changing a little bit now, and it's very studio run. There's not many independent models, and the studios like to provide their own care internally, which sometimes is great. Sometimes there's a lot more focus on getting you better so you can get back to work rather than really focusing on self-care and time taken away, because of course it's a business. And also models don't necessarily want to go and see an internal therapist because they're worried things will get back, so in the end they just don't go to seek that support. So we've started the Spill the Tea initiative, which is rather than offering a support group or therapy, we're offering a community get-together once a month. And during that community get-together, we'll spill the tea on a different topic. And it'll be led by a therapist, which is a support group. But we're not going to call it that. And you're going to get tea and coffee and biscuits and snacks and little bits of swag every time you come. So it'll feel like, just a great way to alleviate isolation, build community, help communication, and do all the wonderful things that we really want to do without putting a label on it that will add any stigma or make anyone think, oh, I don't want to go to that. Oh, no, I don't need therapy. We're going to start in Cali, Colombia next month, and then Romania, and then Hungary and Japan, I think. So that's going to be, I love the fact that we're now going to be able to give support to communities that really need it, that didn't feel like it was accessible for them. And yeah, I'm so excited about being able to do this.
And your reach globally is insane. Have you seen that in certain areas of the world there has been an increase in the amount of people that have been coming to you?
Yeah, there's been an increase in Romania, there's been an increase in Europe in general. America's always loved their therapy, but you can really see there's been a shift in perspective in UK and Europe. So that's been very positive.
So would you say that's and I might be surmising, but is that an increase because of the relationship to accepting therapy, or an increase because of the adult industry increasing in those areas?
Well, we're looking at it percentage-wise, so you'd see an increase if the adult industry population is increasing equally globally, let's imagine, then the percentages will still rise at the same time. Does that make, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're seeing the percentage-wise an increase in UK and Europe, and I think that's down to marketing, people actually understanding that we're there to provide support to them as well. And I think the last 2-3 years, I mean, you can really see it on social media, people talking about ADHD, autism, depression, anxiety. I know my algorithms are probably quite set to mental health and, different to yours, for example. But I can see a huge change in people just talking about mental health. So I do think that seeking help and support has become more accepted in general, globally.
Amazing. And so I'm going to do a bit of a beeline to what you think about porn in relationships. Good, bad?
I mean, I see no issue, provided both people are consenting and both people are wanting to watch said porn. I mean, it's really going to help understand what turns your partner on. You can talk about it as much as you want, but then actually going on a little porn journey together and watching the same kind of movies and seeing what each other is aroused by, then that's got to be a positive. If one person's really wanting to watch porn all the time and the other person isn't, then that's obviously going to be detrimental. If you can't enjoy sex without porn, then that's an addiction. Or if it's affecting your life in general, then that's an addiction, and like any addiction should be worked on. But yeah, I think in general it's a positive. With anything in this world, too much, excess. There's an excess line. And as I said, that's when it's affecting your day-to-day life. But no, I think this whole sex addiction, porn addiction thing, for people that are just watching a lot of porn is absolute crap. Do what you enjoy. You say, oh, you go for too many jogs. You wouldn't say that. You know, you watch too much. You know, people do say you watch too much Disney. I've had that.
But do you think it can impact intimacy within a relationship?
No. Depends on what's intimacy. Missionary staring into each other's eyes? Yes, I love that. Who doesn't love missionary? It's like the best sex position. But intimacy is also exploring. Intimacy is also talking about things. Intimacy is also discovering and experimenting. So, no, I don't
So
think
I think
it does.
you landing to say if it's done together,
Yeah.
it's a bonding thing.
Yeah.
But let's say it's not being done together.
Then, as with anything, it's going to be detrimental. If one person wants to do something and is forcing
Fair.
the other person to do it, or any, you know, not just porn, then of course it's going to be detrimental.
Do you think it creates unrealistic expectations of sex?
For young people, quite possibly, and how easily accessible it is now. I mean, when we were young, I'm a bit older than you, but when we were young, if we wanted to see porn, you'd have to go into the woods and there's that same grotty magazine that everyone used to sneak and look at, and you kind of pull the pages apart and go, ooh, and not even think about why the pages were stuck together, and you still touch it, and it's, you know, looking back. But, you know, I do believe that as someone in the porn industry, we do have a, my brain's gone, care of service. We are educators. We are, yeah, people in the adult industry are educators. We are educating people on sex. We are educating people on intimacy. We're educating people on consent. You know, a lot of the big production companies now, at the end or at the beginning, usually at the end because they want to, will show people saying that they enjoyed it, and they yes, no, or they'll have separate videos available to see the actors giving their consent and what they enjoyed and talking about it. And that is hugely important. There's a huge, huge shift in the industry on ethical porn production. I'm actually going to Berlin in a few weeks to speak at the Berlin Porn Film Festival, and that is industry only, and the topics being discussed are all around ethics and safety. And this is how we need to be educating the population, because the problem is that people are seeing videos and they're not thinking about the consent and assuming that sex is always going to be like this, and you know, everyone's going to be placed in certain ways and should look a certain way, and the sounds and whatever else. You know, again, it's the difference between a Hollywood movie and real life. And yeah, I do believe that as an industry we should be educating and showing people protection, consent, enjoyment, and reality.
And I suppose these conversations afterwards, to almost reflect upon that thing, are hugely changing in that. So where can someone find that kind of ethical porn?
Erica Lust does ethical porn. But if you just, there are a lot of companies out there now, and oh, my brain's gone. There are so many. I'm terrible at names. Terrible. But if you just Google ethical porn, and there are a lot of companies now specializing in that. And there are a lot of female-led porn companies making porn for women, which is very, very different as well. Really interesting. For example, Erica Lust, I had a interview with we interviewed one of their producers, And rather than have a script, they have a loose idea of what they want to happen, and they just get two porn performers who have some kind of connection, some kind of chemistry. They set up cameras, have a couple of people in the room, not the usual kind of full set, and they just let them do their thing. And for me, that I think, as with a lot of women, that's more arousing for us. Men and women's brains work very, very differently. But it's so interesting. There's a huge rise in the desire for this from consumers, and it's great. It's great. It really shows a shift in what the public wants to see, and the public wants to see consent. The public wants to see people actually enjoying themselves. The public wants to know that what they're consuming is ethical, and that goes for food, shoes, makeup, all the toiletries, whatever we're using on a day-to-day basis. There is a huge shift in the want for ethical production.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Leah. It's been great having you on here again. This is our second podcast, isn't it?
It is.
Different brand.
It is. But now we're together, not
I
through
know. Love it. Well, thank you so much for coming. You've been amazing.
I've loved it.